Right now.
Right
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to write now.
Welcome to another daily writing motivation stream. I'm Kaufman, and today we're going to get some writing done. What's up? We're going to be doing not one, not two, but 3 writing sprints. Remember, February, this is the month where we need to make some progress. My goal, 70,000 words. I need to write/revise 70,000 words as I continue into Act 2 and Act 3 of my dark fantasy novel, The Last Scarecrow. What are your February writing goals? Drop them down in the comments. I would love to hear, because let's make that reality happen. So make sure to stick around, because during the in between the writing sprints, we're going to be having the breaks and we will chat about all things writing, whatever's on your mind, or just saying hi, or you can just hear me blabber on about The Last Scarecrow and the fun that I am having. I'm Kaufman. Welcome to the Right Now community. I am a daily writing streamer, 400 plus streams and counting, as I am on this mission to help writers with the process, lifestyle, and mindset that it takes to be an author. Because let's face it, the writing process has highs and has lows. It's fun, it's easy, it's difficult, it's challenging, and everything in between. But it's made so much easier with a writing community. So come join us, because we're starting right now. All right, my friends. So you can see I already have my screen pulled up here. I am ready. I'm ready to hop into writing sprint number 1. Let me just hop into the comments. Guy, welcome, my friend. Good to have you here in the stream. Calvin, welcome back. Calvin in the house. Hopefully the writing's going well this weekend or this week. Like, just finish editing Storm. Congrats. That is so exciting. Finishing an edit or revision on a full draft of a manuscript is so exciting. Really great work, my friend. I know how much progress that takes. Hey, what's up, Marta? Welcome to the stream, my friend. Where I know we're a little earlier today on a Friday. Good to see you in here. Hope all is going well in your part of the world. You're like, writing old fart like crazy. It's always interesting when we're mixing up genres and we're trying something different than what we're normally used to. It's so interesting. I always find it very intriguing, interesting. Like, our haircuts match, like, nice. I'll be like, a cheers with my putting a dragon on it. Hey, what's up, JK? Welcome. How are you all, and what are you working on? Would love to hear that from y'all. You know, I got Scarecrow queued up and I am stoked. All right, so where am I at with Scarecrow? So for those of you who've been watching as of late, my heroes just escaped the gardens, where they escaped a mind-controlling flower, which was transforming poor, helpless animals into plants that would help worship the moon. So they have just escaped that diabolical little side plot, and now that the Pixie Pebble has joined them on their journey, we have Scarecrow, Mr. Crow, our eccentric Mr. Crow, and Pebble the Pixie. So now that they have the 3 of them, originally I was going to send them right into the next obstacle. So I'm trying to figure out what to cut back on in the manuscript to get to a lower word count. But after really thinking about it, I realized that I needed to have a low point, or not a low point, but I needed to give them a momentary breather for them to accept Pebble into their group, into their trio. And why is Pebble going to join them? I had that in the original draft, but I was trying to go back and forth on if I should be cutting it, because then they're going to be tackling the next 2 major obstacles back to back. So they're not actually going to get a breather again for a second. And I think I'll get there when I get there, because I think I'm going to have to make an adjustment to my introduction to my grizzly bear. So we are going to be hopping right into it. I'm actually going to need to review the first part of this chapter that I've just kind of rewritten/revised, like I said, because I have to get some work with making sure that I'm kind of doing some exposition in this chapter, and I need to make sure it doesn't feel too exposition-y, exposition-y. So I got to make sure it doesn't feel too exposition-y, so I'm going to be revising this first half, but let's do it. So I am all ready. I got 25 minutes on the clock. Stick around on the break and we'll chat more writing nonsense, procrastination, and stuff. Whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us because it's time to write now. All right, writing sprint done. Writing sprint number 1, all done, all complete. Excellent. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm very pleased with how this chapter came out, actually. I wasn't sure if how the pacing was going to feel with where I'm at in Scarecrow, because it's kind of like a downtime chapter, and I'm doing some. I was like, yeah, I mean, technically we had one downtime chapter 2 chapters ago, but the stories had a lot of going really fast paced. And then I know once we get to the Coliseum arc, that's like 10 chapters without any downtime. Oh man, so we start getting closer to the midpoint. So I was like, I think it's important. I think this chapter is a good introductory to what the dynamic looks like between Scarecrow, Mr. Crow, and the Pixie. And I'm liking how their playful nature is coming across, where we have Scarecrow's kind of like doesn't really understand anything that's going on, but he's very forthcoming. We have this Pixie who's very like headstrong, aggressive, and is like, I'll fight you. I'll fight you if you mess with me. And then we have the Crow who's kind of in his own world, eccentric Crow, and wants to eat the Pixie, but I'm kind of playing this like playful vibe between the three, and that Scarecrow kind of just keeps them separated. It's kind of funny. And I think it's playing well to the funniness of it. But yeah, so I got some good work done on my end. How'd that writing sprint go for you guys? Were you able to get some words in, or maybe you got a really great idea from your story? Drop it down below. I would love to hear it. Did you get some great ideas, or were you doing like editing or revising? Yay, 303 words. Great work, my friend. Great work. Bazinga. I was like, how many words did I get through? I was like, but technically I was doing a revision. So I did a review of about, oh really? Was it? Oh wow. So I reviewed about 1,300 words. Wow. When I get through this draft, this story, it's so crazy. When I get through the second draft, the third draft is going to go so fast because I've like, I'm really looking forward to gain. I'm like already excited to start the draft over again. So that way I can like improve the style of the story. Oh man. How long is your novel? Great question, Marta. So the first draft of Scarecrow came out to about 100 and what did it come out to? I want to say it came out to 140,000 words. And then I'm about 35% of the way through the second draft. And now it's at about 47,000. I had to do some revising and I had to do some rewriting for the first third of the story to really make sure that the story elements match the overall novel and the overall structure of it. My goal right now is I need to get it down to 120,000 to adhere to a little bit more of fantasy genre trends and standards. So I'm really trying to cut out I'm at what, 147, 30, 20. So I really need to cut out about 25,000 words to get it to a good place. And that's where my struggle is going to be at in this draft, because I'm trying to figure out like what to cut. I've gone through the plot and I've kind of pulled back on just like a couple scenes in future sections, but I'm trying to figure out like what can actually be pulled that doesn't adversely affect the story. So we'll see. Like today I wrote 2 chapters, 1,700 words each. Oh, that's awesome. Sounds like you're making some solid progress on your writing today. It sounds like you've been doing really good with your old fart story. That's awesome. We always feel so good when we're getting like that writing vibes and we're making progress. That's actually really cool to hear, Marta. It's really cool to hear. And for those of you just hopping into the stream, we're just in the middle of a break. I'd love to hear, what are you working on? Drop a comment, because we're about to hop into our second writing sprint in just a bit. Like Calvin also is delivering Thompson's message. That's what I'm working on. Let's see. Oslo is delivering Thompson's message. Oof. Ooh, such a good part of the story, my friend. That's really exciting. Really exciting. I'm like, man, you're when you launch Storm, it's going to be so cool. I'm like really looking forward to seeing how people respond to it. I really do. I'm personally such like a Star Trek fan. I wouldn't say like a hardcore. I'd say like Star Trek, Star Wars. I always appreciate both of them. But I think what I loved is it gives me that like vibe. It's like that science fiction and gives me that like undertone of it personally. So very, very cool, my friend. Looking forward to seeing it evolving. I know, right? Crazy, crazy stuff. So I'm about to, in this next section, so I think this next sprint, I'm going to be finishing the revision of this chapter. And I have to finish, so I haven't touched the last probably like 10% of the chapter because that's about to lead into the next obstacle. And I've been kind of going back and forth because the next obstacle I fleshed out the character storytelling elements of the next obstacle they're about to encounter, which is the village of the next obstacle our heroes are about to encounter is the village of cannibals. And I fleshed out some things. I'm trying to figure out if I should adjust some of the way that they're captured and the situation itself. So I'm kind of going back and forth in a way that makes it feel a little bit more natural to this thing, because I don't want it to feel like it's the same as the next part of the book that's coming up when when Scarecrow becomes a prisoner again. So I'm kind of thinking through it. Have I heard cannibals? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. The next obstacle Scarecrow, Crow, and Pebble are about to face is the village of cannibals. It is basically, we have the fox, which is kind of like a Dr. Frankenstein type character who's basically in his attempt at the end of the world to create companions, he's basically created these abominations. It's a village of abominations. But the only way for them to survive and be sustainable is they have to consume organic life. They have to consume organic life for them to be sustainable. So the fox has created this village that our Dr. Frankenstein has created a village of kind of Frankenstein-like abominations. And they worship, the abominations have taken to worshiping the burn, which is the fire god, one of the seven essences, one of the seven magical godlike essences in this world, which is called the burn. So that's the next obstacle they're about to encounter. Scarecrow, Crow, and Pixie. So yeah, that's what I'm about to embark on. Calvin, like, I do want to send you an advanced copy. Yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool, my friend. Definitely looking forward to it. All right, my friend. So that is a good point. Let's see. Where are we at now? So if you're enjoying the stream, follow and subscribe. This is the only writing community on YouTube, maybe on the internet. This is the only writing community where we have daily live stream motivation. Every single day. We are well over 400 consecutive streams. We do writing sprints, writing motivation streams. We do our critique show. We do author interviews. We do workshops. We have writing events, holiday writing events coming up, our book club and our Faded Fantasy Fiction contest, and much, much more. So make sure that if you really need that daily motivation when you're just like, hey, I don't feel like writing, this is the place to find it. Make sure to tap that follow and subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, tap the share button and help us bring another writer to the community. All right, my friends, wanted to get that in. Okay, so let's go to, let's do our second writing sprint. I believe in us. I feel like the first one was some really great progress. So let's up it. Let's see, what are we at on time? Yes, okay, so we'll up it. We'll do our second writing sprint at 30 minutes. I believe in us. Let's push ourselves, get a little bit more work in. I'm feeling really good with Scarecrow right now, and we'll see what we can see. I'm going to up the music. We're going to do a little bit more intensity and up the chaotic vibe of it. So, perfect. All right, I got the banner all set. So I think I'm ready. Whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us because it's time to write now. All right, writing sprint 2 done, 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 done. So writing sprint number 2, quite a success. I was able to finish almost what I had caught up to on that chapter. So I'd finished the low point of the chapter, and then I kind of had to sit back and think through, because the cliffhanger of this chapter is tying into the next plot arc. So I'm trying to decide what I'm trying to think through the story changes and any adjustment that I need to make for this next plot that the hero is about to overcome and deal with. Yeah, I'm not sure. So, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, so I'm thinking through this village of cannibals. I'm trying to think of what makes sense. Um I think because I've fleshed out the background for this plot line. And in the original draft, so in the first draft, Scarecrow, Crow, and Pebble are caught by a village of inanimate objects. And basically, they are about to sacrifice them. And Scarecrow manages to convince a lifelike doll to save them and help them, and they flee, even though the doll is basically sacrificed in exchange, and they witness the briefest look at a very intense fire god as they are escaping. Since then, in my revision and my adjustment to this part of the world, I've added the fox creator, who the fox is basically like the Frankenstein. So I've created a leader for this community, defined it. And what I'm trying to think of is basically it takes place in a cage originally. Like they're technically in cages outside this bonfire area. But I think I want it to take place in more of like a Frankenstein-esque like vibe, kind of maybe like a mad laboratory of sorts. Because since the gardens was really outside, I think this should contrast as a different type of landscape. This should definitely contrast as a different type. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. How did that writing sprint go for you guys? Were you able to make some progress on your end? Were you able to get some words, ideas, or thoughts onto paper as you were kind of planning what's going to work for you? By the way, Oscar, I saw you hop into the stream. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Hopefully the writing vibe's treating you well. Eli, welcome. Good to see you in here, my friend. Hopefully the writing vibe is treating you well too. Yeah, as I'm trying to think through this plot, this next obstacle, because I think from the rough draft, I think the original heroes trapped in a cage, about to be sacrificed and escapes. I think it's interesting. I think it is, but I think I can make it a little bit more unique. And I think I'm trying to. I have to make. Because yeah, I have to think through this, because I have to make this story decision before I even embark on this next part, since the next part is kind of a cliffhanger leading into the next one. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, whenever I'm stuck at a story section, I will go refer back to the outline, which I think is important. So let's see, where is the outline? Yeah, so I got all that. Pebble, foreshadow, destruction of a part of the forest. Yes, so that's pretty much done. Which means I'm going on to chapter 16. So I think what I need to do is, even though I'm technically still in chapter 15, I think I need to plan 16 since this is basically a cliffhanger into 16. Heroes must escape from a tribe of enchanted cannibals. Yeah, so you guys can see what I'm doing when I'm adjusting things for my outline. Essentially, I plan for each chapter kind of what I'm working on. Yeah, so you can see this is what I'm doing right here. Mari, like I read another member's chapter and wrote a review. That's awesome. It's always nice to be able to help out your community. It's actually really, really cool, Marta. All right, and that is the break. Let's see, what do we got? So actually, this is probably a good time to highlight the critique show this weekend. So this weekend is episode 36 of the Story and Critique Show, which is our most popular Saturday stream. So tomorrow, the critique show, I do live readings and live feedback of members' stories in the community. If you want feedback on your story, submit now. The submission link is down in the YouTube description. Yeah, essentially the feedback is generally the equivalent of an alpha reading / developmental edit that you would expect from a reader or an editor. Each story gets roughly about 10 minutes for the reading, or like a story beat essentially, and then about a 10-minute review, give or take. So definitely highly recommend. I always love doing the critique show. And yeah, I think we do have a higher submission rate for this one. I think we do. But you should definitely submit regardless. Even if we don't get to it tomorrow, it'll still get pushed off and queued to the next critique show, which episode 37 will be on February 22nd. So absolutely push that. Submit to the critique show right now. Let's see. We have a great system. All right. And let's see, Eli, you're like, I'm always interested in how authors choose where to end chapters. Yeah, you know what? And that's kind of interesting with me when I think about, and I'll pull up my outline real fast because that's actually something really interesting to me, Eli. When I think about my chapters, actually, I'll pull up the manuscript real fast because I have the, no, where'd it go? There we go. So when I think about chapter endings, and I'll just go to my table of contents right now, and I think about which chapters do I end off on cliffhangers. I would say, I want to say chapter 1 is cliffhanger. As I can make sure you guys can see. I want to say cliffhanger, normal Trent. I would say this is a self-contained plot. self-contained. Oh no, actually, I think this is a cliffhanger. So cliffhanger, self-contained story, cliffhanger, self-contained story. Or is this actually, this might be a cliffhanger as well. No, this is a self-contained story. Cliffhanger, self-contained, cliffhanger, self-contained. Is this one? Yeah, cliffhanger. This is like kind of a cliffhanger, such self-contained. Self-contained. Trial by hand is cliffhanger. Trial by monstrosity. Self-contained. Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger. As I hit the end of Act 1. Let's see. Last mission is... This is just dramatic. The end of this one is actually really dramatic. But technically self-contained. Self-contained. This is probably the first like truly self-contained one. Chapter 13 is cliffhanger. Oh wait, this one is with Pebble. Self-contained. Cliffhanger. Technically cliffhanger again. So that's kind of interesting, Eli. Now that I'm kind of thinking through it, I take almost a an alternating standpoint now that I'm looking at it, where I do like a cliffhanger, then a self-contained ending. Cliffhanger ending, self-contained ending, where I kind of go back and forth. I feel like it gives like a nice variety personally. Kind of like that. Yeah, Marty, and it might come to end every chapter with a plot twist. And you know what? Especially for like thrillers and comedy, that tends to be a higher status quo and standard because readers want that mystery. Let's see. Brain. I'm also pretty good at editing, but can't overextend myself. Willing to critique and revise sentences, though. Can offer ways to time, prose, etc. for free. Just read some from me, too. Yeah, Brain, what I actually highly recommend is if you are in the Discord, first off, you should join the Right Now Discord. Link is down in the YouTube description. We actually have a place in the Discord for offering services where you can actually put a post there. And we have a lot of members who offer to do free readings and who need help with their work. It's actually a really great section that I would highly recommend if you want to put that offer out. And then when you have stuff that you want others to read, you can put it out as well. And it's nice being able to trade back and forth. That's what I would highly recommend. Eli, it's rare that I'd have 2 chapters take place on the same day, although I do it in my story. Yeah, and I mean, I think that kind of just changes based on the story type. I mean, Scarecrow is very like, from a timeline perspective, Scarecrow is very linear. Every chapter nearly always, like I think about, do I ever do time jumps? Very infrequently. I'm trying to think of if there are any time jumps in the story. I was like, I don't think so. I mean, there might be one or two, but like Scarecrow doesn't have any time jumps. But that's specifically for Scarecrow because Scarecrow is an action adventure. And the goal is I want the reader to stay along the journey with them, right? But that's not what you want to do with every story. I totally get that. Oscar, like, yeah, I like to end on an answer/question line. That like the reader just learns something, but it opens up more questions. I totally get that. Brain traumatized. You're like, too many become predictable, but you definitely want some. Mixing is the definite way to go. Yeah, I think so as well. I've kind of liked that for my own storytelling. Hey, what's up, Jenny? Welcome, my friend. Good to see you here in the stream. You're like, I like ending a chapter on some kind of question. Not necessarily a literal question, but something causing the reader to question and want more info. Yeah, and I think we can kind of all agree, like ending on like that question, like why would the reader want to read to the next chapter is always a good, kind of like a good hook almost. I myself love chapter titles. That is something that I grew up on, and that's something that I always want to do. Not every book uses chapter titles, but I like it. I like using chapter titles as hooks for then the reader reads a chapter title and they're like, okay, interesting. They're like, oh, what could the chapter be about? Right? I like using the chapter title as a hook. That's just something I've always loved as a storyteller and as a reader. I like that as well. Like my favorite thing to do is some sort of mirror of the opening of the chapter. Yeah, that's interesting. So that the ending more fluidly hooks into the next chapter. I could see that. Jenny, like, yes, chapter titles for the win. I was like, not all writers do chapter titles. I don't know what the standard is for mainstream fantasy culture right now, but I am always a fan of chapter titles. So you're like, I use chapter titles, but they're like Easter eggs. Yeah, completely agreed. Eli, like, I like that too. You can totally set expectations with the chapter name. So I absolutely love that. And this is such a great conversation to have. Let's see, but where are we at on time? Okay, so with where we're at, let's get into the next writing sprint. I got about 27-ish or so minutes. So we're gonna have to do writing sprint number 3 as 25 minutes, and let's get right into it. I was like, gotta put this back here. All right, so I got to go back here. I got to do this. Shoot. Got to go here, adjust this back to 25. Where are we at? What the heck? All right, so let's do this. So let's hop into the next writing sprint. I feel good about this. We're going to hop right into it. So let's say that should be at writing sprint 3 of 3. Perfect. So whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that is all part of the process. Come join us because it's time to write now. All right. Writing sprint over. Writing sprint complete. Great, great work, my friends. Hopefully you're able to make some progress on your stuff as well that time. The third writing sprint wasn't as productive for me as I got sidetracked by some other admin stuff I needed to take care of. But overall, I felt pretty good from today's writing sessions. I felt like I made some awesome progress with the first two writing sprints. And I kind of have to think through I have to think through the storytelling of this next plot arc and make a couple of decisions because I'm trying to decide, like, I do need to cut back on chapters, but I know that if I cut this story arc, I think this part of their journey is going to feel I think this part to the midpoint will feel too short. So I need to think through what's the intentionality behind this section and why it matters. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's important. So that's what I am. Yeah. Yeah, that's what needs to happen. So I'm thinking through it on my end, but that is what I got today. I'll be back tomorrow with the Story and Critique Show, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to come join us and submit your story if you have not done so already. So definitely come join us for the critique show tomorrow. Once again, one of my favorite weekend streams where I get to read your stories from the community and help give you feedback. So very, very cool. Link is down in the YouTube description. If you want to submit now. We do have a high submission rate, so I won't be able to get to everyone's, but the sooner you submit, the sooner you're going to be able to get feedback. And if you enjoyed the stream, tap that like button on your way out. Help us show the algorithm that writing streams are cool. All right, my friends, thank you all for joining. Thank you. And Jenny, what I would recommend is sign up to the newsletter, the Art of Writing newsletter. It's linked down the YouTube description. I actually send out the live stream schedule for the week on Sundays. So that way, if you want to see my streaming schedule beforehand, and that way you'll know when I'm streaming for the week, since week by week, some of my times tend to change based on my schedule and based on when I think the community will be the most active. So I definitely recommend the Art of Writing newsletter if you want access to the stream schedule before I post it on socials. It's all linked. Everything's down in the YouTube description. But yeah, absolutely. And then also, like the Art of Writing newsletter, you also get weekly articles, stories, tips, things just to make you a better writer. So that's what I always like to tell people when they miss out on the streams, because I really do try to post the schedule. I highlight the newsletter subscribers because I'm like, you're subscribing, so you should get the schedule beforehand. And then people who connect with me on socials, I post the stream schedules on socials early on in the following week. So excellent. But it sounds like you made some awesome progress today, Jenny. I'm really glad to have you part of the community, and very, very cool. Thanks so much for dropping by, Brian. I hope we got some little bit of good motivation, inspiration too. And I appreciate y'all. We had some great conversations, and make sure to come join us tomorrow. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers.
Right now.
Right
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to write now.